Welcome to the Healing Insight podcast with me, Sarah Hunt.
And me, Jez Hunt, for episode 4. Well, that went well.
Sorry about that, Jay. I think I had a grandma moment there. I completely forgot what episode we got to.
Oh, well.
Dear.
No worries, no worries. So, yes, we're on episode 4.
Woohoo! Already.
I know.
It's great, isn't it? And we've had some really good feedback about the sessions we've done already. So I'm really pleased about that. It's great that people are resonating with what we're talking about and it's helping them. So that's fabulous. Keep the feedback coming, guys. It's great because it will help others to find us as well.
Absolutely. That's great news.
So what's today about?
Well, I think we're doing meditation and mindfulness.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic, and a lot of people seem to be looking at meditation a bit more and mindfulness, and recognizing that it's got a place in their life, especially because everyone's so busy and feeling quite stressed at the moment with so many different things going on out in the world. So it's a great topic to discuss, I feel.
Yeah, and it's certainly helped me over the years. And as I alluded to, I think it was in the first episode, it was really the beginning of my healing journey on myself as well, was through meditation. So it'd be interesting to see where this conversation goes.
Yes, it will. And meditation was very important for me as well, especially after I had my car accident many years ago. And it was a way of helping me to release the pain that I was experiencing from the injuries that I sustained from that car accident. And that really was where my interest in meditation started. And then I think we did talk about in episode 1 the fact that I did teach meditation at one time before my focus became just purely healing. But meditation is an important way of helping yourself to connect with yourself and to understand yourself, and also to quieten the mind and help you to reconnect with your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be interesting just to what is meditation? So because I think you and I both have know that it's more than just sitting and quietening the mind. There's a lot of different ways of dealing with it or using it. So for people out there that maybe not listened or not done meditation before, what actually is meditation from your viewpoint?
It's a way of shutting out the noise that's around you. So you can be meditating when you're washing up. And that sounds really daft, I know. But you can. If you're washing up and you're not really there, if that makes sense. When you go off into that kind of daydreamy world, that's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation can be experiencing the quietness of being out in nature. So going for a walk in the woods, that will take you into a meditative state because it calms you down. It makes you feel less stressed. And so instead of being in your heart and worrying about everything, you just let go of that and you allow yourself to just be. And that takes you into the moment. So meditation really is a way of taking you into the moment. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's where I was going with it. So in my mind,
that's good. I got the right answer.
Hence with the title, we're talking about meditation and mindfulness. In my mind, meditation is a way, or I use the word meditation to mean getting into the now, being in the moment. And there are different ways of doing it. Like you say, going for a walk. So you can go for a walk in nature and you can be thinking about everything else that's going on in your life. So yes, you're going for the exercise, but you're not actually in the moment. You're in the past or the future, worried about what you're going to do when you get home, or I don't know, whatever's going on in your life. Or you can go for a walk in nature and stop and listen to the birds and look at the leaves on the trees and look at the plants, looking at the crocuses and daffodils that are coming up at the moment, and just
Yeah,
taking that time to look at the beauty of that around you.
absolutely. And you even find a fallen tree or a cut off tree stump that you can just go and sit on for a moment and just feel. I
Yeah.
want to say feel the energy. And yes, I'm a tree hugger in it, in case anybody wonders.
Yeah.
But it's just like you say, it's taking the moment to recognize the beauty that's around you, because this earth is a beautiful place, but all we see is all the negative stuff that is going on. And when we go out into nature, it gives us that opportunity to really recognize how beautiful it is. And if you haven't got a woods nearby you, or you haven't got the sea nearby you, a sea's another place that's really good to go to for a meditation when you're out in nature. Just going out in your own garden or even your own backyard and feeling the energy and listening to the birds that are around, listening out, see what you can hear when you just sit quietly in the moment, or stand quietly in the moment, depending on what space you've got.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good point in that. Just closing your eyes. So work your way through your senses. So for example, when I go out, then sometimes I'll just stand there with my eyes shut. I'll stand still and I just listen. And I start listening to the different sounds to identify the different sounds. And yes, sometimes you can hear different bird song. You can hear the wind in the trees. You might hear a distant train or a aircraft going over or whatever it is, but you can just by focusing on the sounds, you become more aware of what's around you. But then you can then do where you just use your eyes. So you open your eyes, but you ignore the sound so much. You just focus on what you can see, the different colors, the different intensities, like things like that. But you can also do feeling. So like you said, tree hugging. So even if you just touch some bark on a tree or pick up some dried leaves or run your hand through the grass on the ground, or you can take your shoes and socks off and just get really grounded and just feel the grass and the ground under your feet and feel that energy coming up and flowing into you. It's things like that which are just as meditative, as listening to a guided meditation
Meditation.
or whatever.
I think a lot of people don't realize that they go into meditative states doing various things. So I mentioned washing up earlier, and washing up is something that for those people that don't have dishwashers, some of us still do it by hand.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, and it's funny, isn't it, how a sink is always by a window, and for a kitchen sink. I don't think I've ever come across it where it's not by a window. But if it's by a window, you can just look out of the window and see what you can see. And when you're doing that whilst you're washing up, you're not really focused on the washing up. Maybe you should be, but it gives you that moment of releasing what's going on around you, what you've been worrying about, whilst you see the robin that's just jumping along the fence. Notice the daffodils that are coming up in the window box outside or in the garden. Do you know what I mean? It's just taking that moment. But also, you can go into a meditative state when you're in a really good book, because you take yourself into that story and you can lose yourself in it. And in actual fact, you're in the moment because you're in the moment of that story. It is a form of meditation because it's taking you out of your levels of anxiety or stress and allowing you to be totally focused in the moment on the story that the author has written.
Yeah, absolutely. Another
Same
quite
with music.
Yep, music. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
When you're really engaged in the music, whether you're singing, whether you're dancing, whether you're just sitting and listening to it, again, that's a form of meditation because it's taking you into the moment, and nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you're having a dance around the kitchen, who cares, because nobody can see you. But you're in the moment, you're having a happy moment. if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's so important. And I think that's another topic for another session, is talking about things that energize us versus things that bring our energy down.
Yeah.
We can talk about that another time. One thing I want to just go back to, and actually this is quite a scary one, and everyone that drives a car will have experienced this, that time when you get in the car in the morning, you arrive at your destination, and you cannot fully remember the journey there. That is actually in a trance-like state.
Which is a
So,
form of
which is a form of
meditation.
meditation.
Yes.
So, we do it all the time. Daydreaming. Anytime anytime where you can't, where time just changes for you, you go into the flow, or you go into that moment where you suddenly come round and it's like an hour's gone, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, what's happened here? That's just you being in a meditative state.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, I think people, my understanding from what people have said to me is that they see meditation as as sitting down and taking yourself into a meditative state, and maybe having some music on while you do it, or having a guided meditation to help you do it. And they don't realize that all these situations are a form of meditation. And certainly when I used to teach my beginners meditation classes, you reminded me when you were talking about listening, and one of the first things I did with anyone that attended those courses was listening skills, and getting them to shut off and just listen. What could they hear by being in the moment?
Yeah.
So yeah, very important.
Well, it is, and I think we're under, our senses are under massive bombardment every day. I mean, when I studied NLP at my master level, the figures then were recognised as about 4.2 million bits of information hitting our senses at any one time. Any nanosecond to the nanosecond kind of thing. So, but our brain can only deal with and process about 134 bits of information. So you've got 4.2 million bits coming in, of which you can only deal with 134 consciously at that moment. Although, say consciously, you're not necessarily aware consciously of the 134 bits of information, but that's what your mind can process, although it does take everything else in. So it's important, if we've got this bombardment going on, this input going into the brain all the time, it's important to take the gas off. It's important to take that pressure away from you to allow your brain to process stuff.
It's no wonder, is it really, that people get so stressed and anxious, because they've got all this information that's being chucked at them all the time. And there's always noise on. I know I'm quite I quite like to have quiet. And but I know that there are some people that they can't be in the house on their own without the radio on or the telly on in the background, and they're just adding to that constant bombardment, aren't they, rather than just giving themselves that time. But maybe it's a bit of a distraction away from themselves.
Yeah, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe, I think, can't remember whether we said this in one of the previous episodes or not, but I think for me, my understanding, my experience as well, is that the biggest fear is people looking at themselves and genuinely looking at themselves and who they are, answering that question, who am I? And that's scary for most people, to look in the mirror and look at yourself and be open and willing to look at your faults, your positives, everything about you, but not in judgment, just in a, this is who I am.
Acknowledging that that's who you are, and that's what's helped to make you who you are. And that's okay. It's part of your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so if we're scared of looking at that, then we use things to distract us. So those moments when we're on our own, it's very easy to go down that negative chatter route. But by having, so, the voices in your head that are saying, oh, you're useless, you haven't done this, you've done whatever it is. And using music or something and having in the background, I mean, in some ways it's good because it raises your vibration if it's music that you like. So
Yeah.
it can be positive, but it can also be, are you using it as an avoidance, or are you using it just as a mood upbeat? But if it's a mood upbeat, then why aren't you feeling it? Why can't you be upbeat without it? And just start asking yourself those questions and being aware of
Yeah.
the chatter that's going on in your mind. And I think by doing meditation and learning to do meditation, and it helps you become aware of what's going on inside you rather than just what's going on externally.
Absolutely. I feel, it's important for us all to recognize the different times when we go into a meditative state, because I do get people say, oh, I can't meditate. I really can't meditate. I've had times myself when I've had lots of stuff going on where I've thought, I really can't. I just can't seem to get into the moment for some reason at the moment, and that will take me inside to discover why. But I think it's important for people to understand that meditation is a skill and it takes practice.
Yeah.
And for some people, they naturally are able to do what I would say is a conscious meditation, where they actually go and sit down and say, right, I'm going to spend the next half an hour meditating, and they find it really easy to do, whereas others find it really difficult to do, and it takes some time. And that's okay, because it's part of the journey, and it's part of coming to understand yourself, and it's part of coming to understand what's stopping you from being in the moment as well.
Yeah.
And it's acknowledgement, isn't it? So the first step with anything is to acknowledge that that's how you're feeling. You're noticing. But the thing as well with meditation that's really good is learning to notice your body.
Yes.
So am I actually relaxed? Because people will say to me, oh yeah, I'm not stressed at all. And when I do hands-on healing, I put my hands onto them, I think, you are stressed. I can feel it. And the tension in the body is there, but they've got so used to it that they think it's normal, until something pushes them over the edge, and then they get to that major stress and have a meltdown because they're so stressed and they hadn't realized that it had built up. But when you start to meditate and start to do conscious meditation, so I would, the way that I used to define meditation was, conscious is when you take that time and you say, right, I'm going to do a meditation, I'm going to do a guided meditation, or I'm going to sit with a crystal and do meditation, or I'm just going to put some nice music on and do a meditation. And the unconscious meditation is the moments when you're washing up. It's the moments when you're in the moment, out in the woods. It's the moments when you're driving
Yeah.
and you suddenly realize that you don't remember actually going down the route that you normally go down. So when you start to do the conscious meditation, learning to feel your body, to actually scan almost
Yeah.
your body and notice, where's the tension in me? Is it all in my shoulders? Is that where I'm holding it? Is it in my hips? Is it in my knees? Is it in my neck and it's affecting, my I'm getting headaches, or whatever it might be. But meditation can easily be used to notice, and each time you do a meditation, you should notice that your body goes into a more relaxed state more quickly
Yeah.
each time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and whether you're doing a guided meditation or whether you're doing just putting the music on and sitting quietly, or sitting quietly holding a crystal, holding crystals can be a really good way of helping you get into a nice meditative, relaxed state. And really what you're aiming for, however you're doing a meditation, is to be in a nice, relaxed state and in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just making me think maybe I should put a meditation together to pop up on my website to help people to feel their body and to notice the tension. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Do you
So
think?
do a body scan one. That'd be
Yeah,
quite
I think a
interesting.
body scan meditation would be a good idea. For those of you who've not come across this before, on my website, that's the Peaceful Living website, so it's www.peaceful-living.co.uk. You will find some meditations that you can download, so they're guided meditations to help you, and I will get this one done as soon as possible and hand over to my technical bod, Jay, to get up on the website for me. But it would help people to just start to get a feel of how relaxed they really are. So that's, I don't want to focus too much on the tension that's there, because obviously it is about noticing where the tension is, but then letting go of that tension,
Yeah.
but about learning to notice how relaxed you actually are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be great. I think even going back, even going to a step before that, if you want to meditate and you've never done it before, then just start. You don't even need a guided one initially. Just start with focusing on your breathing and
Yes.
do some conscious, mindful breathing.
Yes.
So you're literally just focused on your breath in and releasing it and your breath back out again, and just become aware of your breathing. And if your mind starts to wander, which it will, even after all these years of doing it, I can go into a meditation and I still find that my mind wanders and I have to bring
Me
myself
too.
back. But just keep bringing yourself back to the breath. Keep bringing yourself back to the breath, because that is probably the quickest way. And apart from anything else, it calms you. So if you're getting stressed or anxious with anxiety or anything like that, just grounding yourself by focusing on your breathing can have a significant impact just in that moment. It's the easiest thing we can do. It doesn't matter where we are. Even if you're driving, if you need to just breathe, then just become aware of your breathing.
Absolutely. And I remember when the children were small and they used to really wind me up, and Dad would say to me, "Just breathe, Sarah,
Yeah.
just breathe." And that would just take me, that moment of taking that deep breath, letting go of the tension, would take me out of that agitated state. And instead of shouting at the children, I'd be like, "Now, come on, guys, let's sort this out."
Yeah.
And that really is again, it's about taking you back into the moment, isn't it? It's just reminding you that it's okay, it's all right, just take a breath and you can deal with this. And this comes back to the react and respond again, doesn't it, that we talked about.
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode it was, but we talked about react and respond before briefly. But meditation, when you do regular meditation, helps you to move out of that dramatic, I've got to react kind of mode, and into a more responsive mode.
Yes.
And that's much better for everybody, because then you're taking a step back, you're looking at what's going on, and you are responding from the heart rather than reacting from the head.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's about bringing you in. It's about bringing forward conscious awareness. That's where I was going.
Yes.
So, for example, here we go. Here's something for the listeners as well. You and I both wear glasses. Now, in this moment, you are now aware of your glasses on your face. You can now see the rims. You can now see the side pieces out of your periphery vision. You couldn't before. You weren't even aware of them because they're still there. But now I've mentioned it, I can see my rims and I can see the size of the glasses. Now, carry on the conversation for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes and I'll forget that they're on again. But it's that sort of thing. It's just bringing your awareness into the moment of everything around you, because we get so used to, like you're saying about stress levels, we get so used to that level of stress, which isn't normal for the human body, but it's become our normal, in air quotes. It's because it's happening for so long and it's constantly there and there and there and there that we adjust and believe that we're not stressed, when actually our body is under stress all the time. With modern living, I mean, unless
with modern living, absolutely, and it's coming at us from all
angles.
directions, all possible directions as well. And so, we have a choice, really, don't we? We can choose to just carry on and do that, and then maybe end up very ill at some point, or we can choose to do a bit of self-care and self-love and stand back and take the time to meditate, which can make a really big difference. And meditation doesn't need to be 40 minutes, an hour. 10, 15 minutes, and you'll find that the meditations that I've recorded to help people, they're no more than 20 minutes. Yeah. Because I recognized when I was teaching meditation as well, I always said to people, anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes is enough to make a difference, and it's manageable, that amount of time as well. You know, you've got a busy family life, you know, it's important to make time for yourself, but looking at taking an hour to do a meditation or having 15 minutes, you know, 15 minutes is manageable to fit in, isn't it? Whereas an hour might not be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done my meditation course. I think the shortest one is just grounding, which is focusing on breathing and grounding. That's only about 6 minutes. And it's enough to bring someone back down again. To just help ground them and get them in that place,
and so bring them back into their heart center, because that's essentially what's happening when it's about bringing you back into your heart center from your head, because you know everything pushes us into our head, and we need to be in our hearts. Our heart is where we have the connection to our soul. Our heart is where everything comes from a place of love, whereas when we're in our heads, it's ego takes over, and we don't want ego taking over. You know, everything needs to come from a place of love, so we need to be in the heart. So what you're doing really when you're meditating, whether it's a short one like that that's 6 minutes long, which is perfect, is or whether you're doing a slightly longer one, it's all about bringing you back into your center, into your heart, so that you are able to step back into the flow, back into the moment, and see what's really important. Because, you know, a lot of this stuff that goes on around us is there to confuse us, and it does confuse us, and we can't see what's truth and we can't feel what's truth. But when we bring ourselves back into the moment and reconnect with ourselves and our hearts, it's a lot easier to prioritize and see what we need to be doing and what we're supposed to be doing, than you know, when we've got all this clutter going on around us.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting topic. I think just as a call to action for people is just start, just have a go, just start with focusing on your breathing and turn it into conscious meditation. So turn it into conscious being in the moment, and go out and just stand in your garden or go for a walk in nature. And I mean, even in cities and things, you've got parks and things you can go and walk in, or whatever. If you've got a dog, then that's even better, because you can take the dog and do meditative mindful walking whilst you're walking your dog. So
absolutely. And if you've got any crystals lying around at home, amethyst in particular is really good for de-stressing and helping you to come into the moment. Something like green aventurine as well might be a useful one. If you're not very grounded, then perhaps hematite would be a good crystal to use. But just literally just sitting, holding it and focusing on the crystal. So like Jay was saying about focusing on your breathing and bringing yourself back to your breathing, what you could do is sit and focus on one crystal. And if you find your mind going off to what's the shopping list, or I've got to do the school run later, or I've got this, that and the other to do, then bring yourself back to the crystal. It just gives you something to help you to focus as you're learning to meditate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So an interesting topic. I think we could talk about this one for a lot longer than we've got available.
Maybe we'll have to do a more in-depth one, or a slightly different one focused on a particular aspect of it or something in the future. Exciting.
Yes, absolutely. So,
okay.
So if you've got any questions, then do please get in touch with us. Details are available under the podcasts. If you want a guided meditation. They are free downloads from my website. Jay, do you have any free downloads on yours or not?
No, I don't have. I've got a paid course, but I don't have a free course at the moment. But
Yeah, but
anyway.
if you're looking for a meditation course, then please
Absolutely.
take up Jeremy's course, or consider it, look into it.
I can put the link in under the show notes as well.
Yeah,
So.
good idea. Let's do that. But yes, have a go and see how you get on.
Okay.
Till next time, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. I remembered this time.
You did. You got it right.
See you.
Bye.